Welcome to the next section on how to make a really fun class. We're going to work on now on the venues and event dates and times. So for the venue, all we have to do here is select the venue. If you find that you don't have, if it's a new venue, you can go over here and in a new tab, open up a new venue and create it, and then it'll show up in this list. Or you can just go ahead and save the work that you've done so far, go make the new venue, and then come back to this class, and then it'll be in that list. But let's just say we are going to say that's Sequoia Gallery and Studios. And event times here. So this would be the event start date for the class. So let's say this one's going to start on January 5th, and it's going to be at 4 p.m. or maybe 4:30. So notice how these are sliders with time here. I'm going to say done, and then it's going to end on that same date on the 5th at, let's say, 8:30 p.m. And I'm going to hit done. So now I have it on January 5th at 4:30 starting, and on January 5th 8 p.m. ending. You could add a limit here, but you would only want to do that if there was a limit per time slot. But if you have the limit per the whole class, you really want to put that down here in quantity. So let's say this class meets a few times. For each date and time that the class meets, I would hit add date time, and then I'd put in a new date. And let's say that this one is the next week on January 12th, starting at 4:30 p.m. And it ends on January 12th at 8:30 p.m. So there we have. So then down here in the available tickets, I want to say that this is a class fee. And you can select here when you want the sales to start. You can have it start today, or you can have it start at a future date if you want to have all the classes go on sale at the same time. You can select that date, for instance, when you know you're going to have a newsletter published, that kind of thing. And you want to sell until, so that could be either until the first class. It could be you could stop selling registrations prior to the first class to make sure that you have everybody registered before the class starts, or you could have it go all the way through the classes so that people can register at any point while the class is running. You just select that by picking the date here. Whatever date and time you select, then after that time, no more online registration will be available. You put the price here, and then you put the quantity here. Let's say it's for 11 students maximum. You put that quantity there. All right, that takes care of that section. Excerpt, we're not using that at this time. Custom fields, we're not using any of those. Discussion, we don't really need to have discussion, so you want to make sure that those are not checked. We don't need to have any slug. You can change who the author is, but it doesn't really matter. This section you might want to use if you had a class that had a specific email that you wanted to send to students. You could create that custom email here if you wanted to. But otherwise, if you just want to use the standard global emails, they're already all set up and you don't have to do anything. So then I kind of like, excuse me, I'm going back up the other side here, starting at the bottom. So featured image we're not using, and featured image post slider we're not using. But this section is real important. If you are wanting to get address information from the registrants, and if you're going to allow them to register other people, let's say one person wants to register for them and their friend, you're going to want to also have personal information and address information on that second person also. So you need to check all those boxes pretty much for any class that you're going to ask registrations for. If it's a class that they don't need to register for, let's say like the life drawing, then you don't need to select those boxes. This here, HTTPS, that's about securing some of the parts of the website which is not required for this, for Event Espresso, so you can just ignore that. Event categories, this section is very important in that we want to select everything that we want this to show up on. So this is a class, so we want it to show up on the classes page. We want it to be on the members page. We want it to be on the public calendar. If this was an ongoing class, like the Meet and Mingle or the Life Drawing, it would be this selection instead of that one. So then it would show up in the ongoing classes section instead of the classes section. So yeah, you want to make sure that you select each calendar that you want it to be on. Tags, we're not using those at this time. And then this part here is very, very important. This is the event registration options. The active status, that'll change once we've published this event to be active. The maximum number of tickets allowed per order in this event, this is how many tickets somebody can buy at once. I usually put this to like 5. I can't imagine anybody wanting to register more than 5 people at once. Display ticket selector. If you are having people register, then you want to have this yes. But if it's, for instance, the Meet and Mingle or some of those other classes that you're not having them register, then you would want to select that to no. But this is a class we want to register for, so we'll say yes. If you have an alternative registration page, for example, when you had that class that was run through the community college, you could put a link to that here, and again a link to their phone number here. And then this default registration status, we would have be approved, and that should be the default setting. I think I just changed that in an earlier tutorial. So it would normally be approved, is how you'd want that. So now that we got all those things set, all we have to do is hit publish, and our class should now be online. So then if I want to go to the site here, I want to visit the site, and I want to go to classes, and I'm going to go past all of the ongoing classes and past all this, and look, here's the really fun class with Jill Carter. And if I view the details, then I should be able to go to the class page here where I can buy a certain number of tickets, and I can hit the register now and go through the whole checkout process. How very exciting. All right, in the next tutorial, we'll talk a little bit more about some more details. Thanks for listening.